What happened?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Kripasindabevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. We're continuing our glorification of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we're very eager to hear from all the devotees because it's a transcendental process through which devotees are connected on the transcendental platform and have unique realizations. So we have a list of devotees, and we'll follow the order that they came in and do the best we can for now and see how it goes. So,
Prabhu,
yes, please.
We have some devotees that they have something came up and they have requested if they can move up a little bit.
Sure.
And because something urgent has come up, so if we can make one, two exceptions. And also, there is one video, so we had to give them a heads up. So if they can load it up, so that way it's no delay in the process. And if we can announce at least 2 names ahead of a time, so that they can be ready and they can be unmuted themselves.
Okay.
And also, there are 3, sometimes 2 or 3 same family members have registered. So I don't know how you want to do that. So you can give them 1 minute each, or we can just take one family member, so then we can accommodate. We have total 35 and 1 hour and 15 minutes, and your closing note.
Sure. So I would say that if you have a more than one person speaking, then divide up the time to make it fair for everybody else. And we'll certainly accommodate the video whenever it's ready. And who would like to start? And that the person who has somewhere to go.
So we have Vaikuntha Nayak, and next can be Mantra.
Okay. He's on the top of the list already. And is there somebody need? I'm sorry?
On the top of the list.
Pardon me?
Vaikuntha Nayak Prabhu is on the top of the list.
Yes. So weren't you just saying to start with him?
I didn't hear. There was a breakup.
You had said earlier that there was somebody that needed to go ahead.
Mantra Siddhi and Vaikuntha Nayak. There are 2 devotees that need to.
Okay, so the next 2 will be Vaikuntha Nayaka and Mantra Siddhi. And then right after that, we have Damodar Vamsidhari. So if you'll begin, please, Vaikuntha Nayaka, the platform is yours. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Hansapriya Mataji, for accommodating my request. Thank you, Guru Maharaja. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pascharti Deshtarine. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. Einstein is considered to be the greatest brains of the last century in the scientific world. I was wondering why. After all, there had been many a scientist before him. So why does Einstein have that special place? Einstein, in his theory of relativity, explained that space is not flat, but like a fabric that gets curved by dropping some light and heavy balls on it. And then it occurred to me, Einstein is special because of his ability to come up with analogies to convey deep esoteric scientific concepts in a way the common man can relate to. And then I realized, Srila Prabhupada, what a spiritual genius you are by your own right, by many orders of magnitude. You introduce to us deep philosophical truths in a way that the common man could understand. Philosophers from time immemorial have debated on God being with form or without it. Yet, with the classic analogy of the sun, sunlight, and sun god, you explained how God can exist in different features. Something is the same and yet it is different. This idea of Achintya Bheda would otherwise have been dismissed as illogical by the intelligentsia. Yet, by pulling up the analogy of the sun and sunlight again, you helped us understand how the jiva is the same but yet different from the supersoul. Carpentry is an otherwise boring subject, but yet from there you picked up this concept of the dovetail joint. You use this analogy extensively to help us practically understand Yukta Vairagya and the process of connecting to Krishna. The jiva cannot enjoy independently of its own. Well, skeptics would immediately jump onto this and question, well, why not? But you silenced all skepticism by your analogy of the hand holding the rasgulla versus the hand holding the rasgulla into the mouth. It could have been nigh impossible to understand why this material world is a bad place. After all, we can all work hard and prosper in the material world, can't we? But you showed us with the example of the jail that real success is not about moving from one type of jail to the other, but in getting released from the jail. While the variety in this material universe can be mind boggling, you made it easy by your analogy of how different colors can be obtained by mixing the three primary colors in different proportions. The Mayavadis were causing havoc by their assertion that Krishna is one of us, because after all, wasn't he born amongst us? But again, you smashed their argument by a wonderful analogy that just as the king visits the jail out of compassion, Krishna is coming to this world not out of his karmic reactions, but to reclaim us back to his kingdom. When scientists claim that they could produce life in future, you called out their bluff by the analogy of a post-dated check. And the karmis talked of social welfare and egalitarian ideas like equality. You compared them to the thieves trying to split their loot. Srila Prabhupada, in tech companies today, the favorite interview question is how will you explain? You can insert a trending computer concept like say AI, artificial intelligence. How would you explain artificial intelligence to a 5-year-old? The idea of asking such questions is that only a person with extremely sound grasp of the concepts can explain it in a way that a child can comprehend. Srila Prabhupada, the fact that you could even help a child understand the deepest of philosophical truths is a testimony to your mastery of the subject. And finally, the email on the offerings from email asking us to send out the offerings instructed us to limit the offering to just 3 minutes. First, I thought I could use a loophole here. Who's 3 minutes? 3 minutes of Brahma, and I could buy more time. But then I realized that even 3 minutes of Brahma might not be enough for me to complete your glorification. So I'll stop right here with a heartfelt thank you for having come to this planet to show us the light. If you had not done what you did, I would not have had got my wonderful Gurudev. Please give me the strength to please my Guru Maharaj and the devotees. Thank you very much. Yours in service, Vaikunth.
Haribo, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Vaikuntha Naika Prabhu. Mantra Siddhi. Mantra Siddhi, are you there?
I don't see her in the room, Zoom
Okay,
room,
let's
unless she has a
try
different.
Damodar Vamsidhari Prabhu, the one and only.
Don't see his name either in the participant Zoom.
Okay, let's try Sundari Leela.
Yeah.
Well, you might get your 3 minutes back. No, there you go. Hare Krishna. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to share a video which the kid
Okay.
created. So
Hare Krishna Mataji, we can't hear anymore.
sorry. Can you hear now?
Mataji, are you sharing with computer sound?
When you share, you have to share the sound.
You
When
can.
you share, right, on the bottom there is one thing called as share with the audio.
Share with audio. I'm so sorry.
So share
Once you
computer
go to
sound.
share, and then the next screen will give you a extra box on the left bottom side to share audio.
Share computer sound, yeah.
I believe I started to hear the sound finally when,
We heard and then it went away actually.
Oh, okay.
Try again. Share. Okay, share with computer sound. Okay, got it. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mataji. And you can be on mute while sharing as well.
Yeah.
Sundarila, if you mute yourself, we will not be able to hear the sound. Sundarila, you're muted.
Hare Krishna everyone. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Isha idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunjita magvata kasya swadanam Anejareka manaso javiyo naina deva apnuan purvamarsham tadavajornyai aiti tishtan tasmin napo matarishva dadati yashtu sarvani bhutani atmani evanu pashyati sarvabhuteshu tatmanam tatona vijgupshate nandama pravisyanti ये विद्यम उपासते ततो भुज इवति तामो य ओ विद्ययामता अन्य देवाहु संभवात् अन्यदाहुर असंभवात् इति शुश्रुमदीराणां यनस्ताद्विज चक्षे सम्भूतिं च विनाशं च यस्तद्वेदो वयं सः विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा सम्भूत्यामृतमश्नुते वायुरनिलम् अमृतम् अतिदं वस्मान्तं शरीरम् ॐ कृतो स्मरा कृतं स्मरा कृतो स्मरा कृतं स्मरा अग्नया सुपताराय अस्मान् विश्वानि देवा वयुनानि विद्वान् यो धियस्मज्जुहुराणमेनो भूयिष्ठं तेन उक्तिं विधीमहि Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for all the books you have written, all the temples you have built, and all the teachings you have written. Thank you. Dear Srila Prabhupada, I am very grateful for your appearance on this planet. I am grateful because you revealed the purpose of my life, and I hope to make that as my lifetime. I'm very thankful to Srila Prabhupada because he wrote many spiritual books in English in a way that I can read and understand. If he didn't write in such a nice way, I would have never gotten a chance to read these scriptures. Thank you. Prabhupada books because they are really engaging and it has an in-depth explanation of the book and it has great dialogue, which is really good. I am thankful to Prabhupada for translating the books. Like, if you didn't translate the books, it would be much more confusing to read it. Like the Bhagavad Gita, it teaches many lessons. If you didn't translate it, it would be very confusing to learn. From the very beginning, if they begin education with Bhagavad Gita and then comes to Srimad Bhagavatam, reads the whole literature, then they will be more than MA PhD. More than. The knowledge will be so advanced. The ordinary university degrees, MA PhD, because the essence of knowledge is there.
Thank you so much.
Haribo, sadhu, sadhu. That was fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving the kids an opportunity to express their gratitude. Thank you.
Okay, next call for if we have Damodar or Mantra City. No. If you're there, you can go. Otherwise, we have Vijay Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj, for giving us the opportunity to express our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble dandavats. All glories to you. On this joyous occasion of your Vyasa Puja, I beg at your lotus feet to become humble, to appreciate all the Vaishnavas and become grateful to them. With your permission on this day, I would like to express my gratitude toward you and to share a drop of the inspirations you are continuing to instill in me. When I read your books again and again, I'm able to appreciate the depth of your purpose. When I engage in helping others to read your books, I'm able to appreciate how you have made so many devotees. When I talk to your dedicated disciples, I'm able to appreciate the impact you have made on them. When I read your biography, I'm able to appreciate your personality and your seriousness in practicing and preaching. When I read the books of our acharyas, I'm able to appreciate the parampara you have given for us. When I read your articles, I'm able to appreciate the Guru Bhakti you have for Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura. When I started studying Sanskrit, I'm able to appreciate your scholarship and novelty you have shown in your books and your mastery over Sanskrit. When I read your conversations, I'm able to appreciate your transparency and skills. You express your personality the same, both inside and outside. You are continuing to inspire us to be grateful, and you are the sole person uniting the entire community of devotees ISKCON. Come together all over the world. Thank you for giving us the sweetness of Krishna Bhakti and the intricate philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which completely satisfy our hearts and intellect. I'm eternally grateful to you and your disciples who dedicated their lives at your lotus feet. It's your mercy that all we are made of. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Vijay Prabhu. What a sweet, beautiful offering. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. And now we have Gita Priya.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to yourself. This year has been a harder one, but it's almost over. Through this global pandemic, I have matured and gotten many deep realizations because of your books. Ever since I was a little kid, I have been told Krishna is this, Krishna is that, and for a good period of my life, I questioned whether Krishna was real or not. But through reading your books, I think back to that period of my life and say, how could I have ever doubted this? You explain Krishna and Krishna consciousness so logically that it's hard to question you or find loopholes. Through your books, you taught me how to state facts logically without any loopholes. That is just one of your innumerable skills that I would like to learn from you. When I read your books, I have the sense of all the you use is very advanced. You came here to America to preach Krishna consciousness when you were 70 years old, yet your knowledge and wisdom in English is so advanced. Sometimes I just sit there and think about how different my life would be if you hadn't come to America to preach. I just realized I would not be here writing this offering to you. I am eternally grateful to be here writing this offering for you. Please forgive my countless offenses unto you, and I hope and pray I can even become a fraction of the devotee you were. Your humble servant, Gita Priya.
Haribo! That was amazing, Gita Priya. Thank you very much. Really amazing. Next, we have Jai Kanai Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances in the dust of your lotus feet. I wish you a very happy Vyas Puja day. I would like to start by expressing my immense gratitude for your tireless work that you put in to envision, establish, and run ISKCON, a movement where anyone, without consideration of caste and creed, could come in and start a journey towards understanding and realizing the real purpose and goal of human life, which is to take up the process of bhakti yoga and reach perfection. Your ingenuity in establishing founding principles of ISKCON is commendable. Being the ocean of mercy towards the bewildered and confused general populace, you brought the principles of eternal Jaiv Dharma and taught them in a simple, adaptable way, which is easy to practice and produces tangible results. Following the intense desire to follow the orders of your spiritual master, you single-handedly conceived and implemented the global standards of practicing bhakti yoga and a utilitarian culture that allows one to start and establish themselves on the path back home, back to Godhead. You brought the jewels of Vedic literatures like Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and translated them into English, the language most spoken and understood across the world, to distribute these invaluable words of Supreme Personality of Godhead and His pure devotees to the world. I would like to thank you for raising, training, and transforming a fleet of bona fide pure devotees, your honorable and fellowship-worthy disciples who continue to serve you in and your mission in various capacities and are working tirelessly for the benefit of the humanity at large, enlightening the bewildered souls, and that all you did being in the mode of a meek servant of Lord Krishna. You practiced what you taught to the T. Me personally, being extremely fortunate and the object of your causeless mercy, have found shelter at the lotus feet of your able disciple, His Holiness Vaisheshikadas Adhikari, who embodies, lives, and distributes your teachings to anyone and everyone who is willing to take them up. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for raising and nurturing such leaders who are bearing the torchlight and running in the front to enhance and expand your mission. I pray at your lotus feet for their long and healthy life ahead and seek your blessings to one day be able to render some service at their lotus feet. Your servant, Jayannath Das. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada.
Hari Bo. Thank you, Jayannath Prabhu, for that heartfelt, beautiful offering. Next, we have Shri Kumar Prabhu on the list.
He spoke in the morning.
Spoke in the morning, yes, he did.
Okay. Next, Manjula Kanta, she also spoke.
She also did.
Sukeshwari Devidasi.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Wishing you a very happy birthday, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, for several years, my attraction has always been to my Gurudev, and which was huge, and I never knew much about you. From the time I started reading your books, I feel so much more closer to you. I feel the presence of you in several situations. Thank you for being such a wonderful example. Your every act and every word is so inspiring to me, so which helps me to live this life to the fullest extent. Prabhupada, I realized these few years of my Krishna consciousness how important is chanting. Like, you should chant nicely every day. I came across a quote that mentioned 90% of your progress is your chanting, and 10% is of everything else that you do. I did not understand this quote at first, but after just following what you said, I realized that a strong sadhana, I could actually do better service. Prabhupada, this year, just a few weeks ago, I had some health concerns and I had to go to the hospital. I realized everything you say in your books. There is no one or nothing that will come with you when you have to leave the world. I took my beads, Marshingadev's picture, and my Bhagavad Gita. Reading the Bhagavad Gita actually helped me get ready for any situation. You actually been my savior, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, last year when I did my offering, I had requested you to bless us at ISV to be able to do huge on books. I specifically mentioned we should be able to place hundreds of books around the world, and especially more than the Gideon Bibles. I can see how you're blessing all of us at ISV. His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu started this wonderful project called Bhagavad Seva. We are several of us under his leadership serving you in distributing several Srimad Bhagavatams. We have achieved the goal of distributing hundreds of Bhagavatams. Prabhupada, I'm again here asking you for this year's blessings. We need more blessings from you. It's just you who can help us and who can empower all of us to be able to distribute thousands of Srimad Bhagavatams yearly. So, Prabhupada, this is my sincere prayer to you. Please bless ISV devotees so we will be able to distribute 1,000 Srimad Bhagavatams on a yearly basis. Thank you so much, Srila Prabhupada, for everything that you have done for us. Hare Krishna.
Haribo! Thank you very much, Sukeshwari. And now another one of the Aishwari sisters, Risheshwari Leela.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I seek the permission of my dear Guru Maharaj and all the assembled Vaishnavas to glorify our dear Srila Prabhupada. Dear Srila Prabhupada, your Vyasa Puja each year is a time for me to reminisce the time when I first came in touch with your books back in 2002. Among the first books I read by your divine grace was the Bhagavad Gita as it is, The Journey of Self-Discovery, and Your Ever Well-Wisher. I remember vividly how in the days in 2001, during the 9/11, I was praying every day for the Lord to reveal himself to me. And you had opened the doors to the absolute truth through your books. I was a misguided, helpless soul. But your books brought about the absolute truth in simple and straightforward way through your words. Among the first words that draw me towards the truth were when you said that a person who doesn't inquire is like living like an animal. And I would think, exactly, this is what I'm looking for. I don't want to live like an animal, but why is everyone around me living like an animal? And they don't even know it. I found it so hard to relate with anyone around me. And then I started to beg, please, can I meet someone who has already understood this knowledge? I'm very grateful, dear Srila Prabhupada. In those days, you revealed your own pure disciples to me. His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu lived half a mile from my apartment. And I still remember the day I got the message from him to come to his home program. Dear Srila Prabhupada, your words gave me a desire to live, to have a meaningful purpose in life, and a purpose to die for. Fast forward 18 years, we are in a year of the greater pandemic. You have helped me become wiser through the agency of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which you tirelessly translated till your last breath. The more I read about the greatness of the Lord and his mystic relationship with his pure devotees, the more I feel how insignificant and useless I am in front of Krishna. I had been challenging authority, maybe for millions of lifetimes, the authority of our loving Lord Shri Krishna and Radha. But your divine grace in the true mood of Lord Nityananda and the Audarya Bhav coming from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have given me a chance to perfect my life. You have said, just give this one lifetime, and that just practice pure devotional service. Dear Srila Prabhupada, you said ISKCON is your body. It hurts me a lot when I see any soul leaving the movement. Because it takes millions of lifetimes to come back to it. My resolve to work to protect your movement is deepened when I see something is being done which is hurting it. But as your spiritual master, His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said, first I need to reform myself before I think of myself being an example to reform others. I find myself very insignificant in this domain. I pray to you to get engaged in this in some service to fulfill the desire of my Guru Maharaj and of my dear Shiksha Guru, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu. Just like you have engaged your disciples, I pray for some specific service which you really want me to improve upon in myself and in those around me. So on your appearance day, I pray for this blessing. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being there for us. Thank you, my dear Srila Prabhupada. I love you.
Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande Haribo. It sounds like an ashram there. Beautiful sounds of Madunga. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Rashesh, really. That was very powerful. We next have Priya Kishori.
I don't think she's on the Zoom.
Okay. Next we have Aniruddha Nitai Chand Prabhu.
I don't see him either.
I think everyone had too much lunch prashad.
We're just burning through this list. From now on, everyone gets 30 minutes. Okay. Next we have Srivas Pandit Prabhu.
Also, Priya Kishore is on her way, just so you know.
Okay, tell her to drive carefully.
Okay.
Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna,
Srivas
Vaishishta
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Gaur Premanande Haribol.
Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
God.
And may I seek your permission to glorify your spiritual master.
Tatastu.
Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshe Tarine. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept our humble obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to your divine self. All glories to your spiritual master, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who impelled you and who ordered you to come to West, because of which we are all assembled today, celebrating your divine appearance on this planet Earth. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Evam pravarchitam chakram nanavartayati yaha aghayurindriya rama mogham partha sajivati. He says that those whose lives are exclusively dedicated for sense gratification and those who do not follow the cycle of sacrifices set in the Vedas live lives in vain. And those Vedas that emanate from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that gives direction to the human society has been lost over a period of time. And even if we had full body of Vedas available, which we do not, we barely could access them, let alone trying to read or master them. Oh, had we even mastered those Vedas, then we would have missed the purpose of Vedas. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo Vedanta krit veda videva chaham. Just like the wife of the Yajnik Brahmana, the husbands of the Yajnik Brahmanas, or the Yajnik Brahmana Patnis, who had perfect mastery of Vedas, yet they failed to notice Krishna standing next to them or very nearby asking for foodstuffs. Even those who have perfectly mastered Vedas would have lost the meaning and the purpose of Vedas. And the problem which was there 5,000 years ago when the sages of Naimisharanya asked Sutta Goswami, please give us the essence of the wisdom of the Vedas and the scriptures, because there are too many and there is too much of information, too much of demands and of rituals and sacrifices in each, and our mind is reeling just trying to figure out this ocean of transcendental knowledge that's lying out there. And fast forward 5,000 years, we would have been clueless as to the real purpose of life. We would have been completely lost amidst the ocean of scriptures and false theories and fake gurus that abound this age of Kali Yuga. Yet you came shining a powerful torch of Srimad Bhagavatam, not only giving the age-old knowledge that was being transferred through the parampara, but giving it in such a distilled format that the modern man could easily understand who Krishna was and what the purpose of Vedas was. This, Srila Prabhupada, is your genius to come and not only give this sacred age-old knowledge that would have been inscrutable by any person, however intelligent he could have been, but to come to US and give that knowledge, impart that pure wisdom that enlightened those who were completely unfamiliar with India, Indian culture, Vedic knowledge, and even those in India who were completely clueless about this Vedic knowledge. So on this day, Srila Prabhupada, I bow down at the dust of your lotus feet for taking the time and major portion of your life for compiling these books that have become our source of strength, that have become our GPS to go back to Krishna, without which we would be running around in circles. And as Vaisheshika Prabhu said, if you have no goal, any road would get you there in no time at all. So, O distiller of the essence of Vedas, Thank you for giving us your precious and priceless Bhaktivedanta purports, through which we have a firm foundation of our own faith and bolstered by the intelligent and logical way which you have presented your purports. May these books that are being distributed by your brave Sankirtan warriors, headed by His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu at ISV, may they become the beacon of mankind for millions of years to come. Thank you so very much for appearing on this planet and saving us from this calamitous position that we definitely would have been in had you not appeared. All glories to your divine self and all glories to the disciples who carry your teachings in their heart, in their lives, by their behavior and by their examples. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Haribo! Thank you, Srivas Pandey Prabhu, for your nectarian words. Hare Krishna. Now we have Malini Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Of Krishna Prabhu. Dear Grandfather Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most humble obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to your divine grace. All glories to your illustrious disciples. All glories to ISKCON, shelter of sincere souls. Today, on your divine appearance day, I stand here feeling humbled by the vast ocean of sincere souls that you have attracted throughout the world. Whether they are strictly adhering to the principles that you have given and adopted our ISKCON family, or following their own family traditions, but taking instructions given in your books and gradually developing love and gratitude for Krishna. You are the torchlight that revealed Krishna to this world. It is hard to fathom your glories. Birds fly in the sky as high as they can. So according to my limited capacity, I wanted to express my gratitude for your purports. Pandemic, as it is on everyone's mind, pushed us out of the comfort zone and forced us to think outside the box. This inspiration came from your lecture. Like that, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us, this time is very dangerous. And still, in this dangerous time, just like in epidemic condition, where every person is being contaminated and dying, still, the doctors appointed by the government, they have to go to the epidemic area and try to treat the people and save them. Our duty is like that. The whole atmosphere is epidemic, whole atmosphere, this Kali Yuga. And still, by the superior orders, we have to preach this Krishna consciousness movement. Pandemic also gave us time to follow up with the contacts, both personal and temple contacts. Connecting with contacts, we found people are interested in reading spiritual books. Picking up on this thread, I started reading Srimad Bhagavatam to a small group of family members. This group consisted of impersonalists, smartha brahmanas, and some inquisitive people. Initially, we started reading only translations. Couple of weeks later, one person in the group points out, there is so much in your purports. Why are we skipping those? Immediately, we started with the purports again. Your purports are brilliant because you have created a bridge between ancient knowledge and modern application. Example, instead of chariot, you give the example of car and a driver. This makes it easier for anyone to pick up your books and read immediately and understand them well. Also, you have not compromised to present hard facts in your purports. Because it is coming from your lotus mouth, it transforms people's hearts. As you mentioned in your purport to Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, verse 20, chapter 20, verse 25, a pure devotee always engages in the service of the Lord, taking shelter of his lotus feet, and therefore he has a direct connection with the saffron mercy particles that are strewn over the Lord's feet. Although when a pure devotee speaks, the articulation of his voice may resemble the sound of this material sky, the voice is spiritually very powerful because it touches the particles of saffron dust on the lotus feet of the Lord. As soon as a sleeping living entity hears a powerful voice emanating from the mouth of a pure devotee, he immediately remembers his eternal relationship with the Lord, although up till that moment he had forgotten everything. I struggled to write one page of an offering. I often wondered, how were you able to write so many books? Till the very end, you kept translating so that we can benefit from your realizations. Your purports anticipate the questions of the readers and answers them even without asking. These purports make us feel as if we are sitting right in front of you and you're explaining these verses to us. Even in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, when you were describing the branches of Sri Chaitanya tree, you went so much in detail to explain the birthplace, history of all the associates of Lord Chaitanya, and also gave us a current name of that place. You gave all the details that so that the reader knows how to develop attachment for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. One might be a bit lost or may not get full picture if they just read the translations. In your purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, you have included commentary from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Jiva Goswami, and many more acharyas. Reading your books is like having a sangha with you and all the previous acharyas. The highest philosophy, which is loving service to Shri Radha and Krishna through loving service to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is taught in its purity through your purports. Alas, I have no attachment for it, and I have wasted away so many years of my life. I pray to you and all the assembled Vaishnavas to give me a taste to read and study your books. One last thing I want to mention on behalf of Team ISV. We were #1 in the world in the book distribution during Bhaktivinoda Thakur Marathon. We had no such plan to be #1. On the contrary, we were wondering how will we be able to distribute your books during pandemic. The devotees sincerely tried their best to please you without any expectation. Krishna reciprocated by placing us #1. Our only hope is that this brought a smile on your beautiful face. On this auspicious day, I beg that you keep me under the shade of my spiritual master and my Siksha Gurus and give me the intelligence and strength to follow their instructions. Your aspiring granddaughter, Malini Devi Dasi.
Haribo! Thank you so much, Malini. We'll be living off of that offering for years to come. Shweka.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Shri Radha Madan Mohan, and all glories to you. My life has been on pause since mid-March, Srila Prabhupada, and during this pause, I've been thinking a lot about you. Although I never had the fortune of meeting you, Srila Prabhupada, you changed my entire world through your writing and your disciples, who are so devoted to you. Your expert care and instruction have produced some amazing devotees who are now my teachers in this path. They take your teachings, instructions, and example as their life and soul. They then pass it on to us, your spiritual grandchildren, and in turn, they become our life and soul as well. This quarantine, I've been reading so many of your books. They are perfectly written and explained with wisdom that can be applied to any generation. Your instructions provide guidelines for utilizing our human life to the best of our capacity. As a teenager, I see so many of my peers wasting their youth away, pursuing many things and not understanding how Maya is pulling them here and there. I'm grateful that I get to use my youth in your service, understanding and furthering this movement. Today, I would like to wish you the happiest of birthdays and thank you for everything you've done for me. You've given me my Guru Maharaj, my mentors, my friends, and the meaning to my life. I'm eternally indebted to you, Srila Prabhupada, and Krishna willing, with your mercy, one day I'll meet you in the spiritual world, where all of us will be united as one big family, eternally serving Krishna's lotus feet. Your servant, Sweka.
Jai Shweka, Hare Krishna. Really beautiful. Thank you so much. Priya Kishori.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to your divine grace. Today, I would like to read you this offering that has been growing in my heart for over the last year since I read you my last offering. As my years go forward in Krishna consciousness, I'm growing to understand but a few sparks of your splendor. I am moved by your ability to have foresight in your mission and always anticipated the magnitude that your movement would have on the world. This was not due to your pride or material motivation, but your intense humility and surrender to your spiritual master. By observing this undying quality of perseverance, I know that no task is insurmountable when we take shelter of your ever effulgent lotus feet. They are fearless and bestow fearlessness upon all. Or else, how would a Bengali man who was 70 years old cross an ocean and come to a foreign country to selflessly preach the message of his spiritual master just for the benefit of everyone? I can only imagine how much joy you must be feeling while looking upon the blooming communities you continue to build despite the lack of your physical presence. But there is still so much more to be done and so much more of your glory to be distributed around the world. Please consider me and use me as an instrument in this effort. I am insignificant with not many qualifications, but my only qualification is the shelter of my spiritual masters and my wonderful congregation of exalted devotees. If I can simply serve them for the rest of my life, then I would feel my life to be all successful. I pray to imbibe the simplicity that you have established in your books and take your sweet instructions into my life. Please give me the taste to incessantly read your books and make those instructions widely distribute them, to practice those instructions and widely distribute them to everyone fearlessly. Being the servant of such a master as Vaisheshika Prabhu, your disciple, we are being trained to go and use every ounce of our strength to show compassion for all the fallen souls. Thank you for giving us such a leader. I pray at your lotus feet that I can have many, many more years in Krishna consciousness and serve under the shelter of all the devotees at ISV and His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu and be a pleasing servant to your divine grace. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Priya Kishori, for yet another amazing offering. And now we have Haladara Rupa Prabhu.
Krishna, that was a very powerful offering. And after that, I'll just try my humble best. Thank you, Mrs. Gaurav, for opening this channel for Grand Disciple to read the glorification of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to you, all goes to your faithful followers. This year is going with a lot of uncertainty and uncomfort, but good thing happening, as other devotee mentioned already, is the regular reading calls. Nowadays, that's the only medium to get the association of while reading with them. After the pandemic, one of the group we have started reading this Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita daily. Other group starting on the weekend Srimad Bhagavatam reading, and one more group started reading the Science of Self-Realization every Saturday, where we invite the people who introduced to your books recently. While reading Lilamrita, it's unbelievable the level of hardship you have put on to bring the Krishna consciousness over all the world. I had many times heard from the devotee that purity is force, was not able to relate to it easily until started reading Lilamrita. Your life is a treasure of wealth of your dedications to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. Like your early days in India, where each attempt you were doing to spread Krishna consciousness were not resulting into meaningful outcomes, but it's been very clear that you were completely sold out to your Guru Maharaj. While in family life, you were perfect grihastha who was continuously supporting the brahmacharis and the mathas to spread the Krishna consciousness. And you took the sannyas, and when you took the sannyas, you're known as a Jagat Guru throughout the world. In one of the morning talk, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj asked Srila Prabhupada, what is that ingredient or what is that thing that caused faith to develop in one? Srila Prabhupada replied, purity, purity. The more you become pure, the faith is firm. You develop faith when you believe in authority, the spiritual master. Then Prabhupada explained, Adau Saddha Tatau Sadhu Sangha Atha Bhajana Kriya verse. Srila Prabhupada, you dedicated all your life in to fulfill the order of your spiritual master. It's even hard to believe that hardship you've been go through to fulfill such a tall order. When it comes to the preaching, no one can better than you. One of the pastime I would like to narrate from Lilamrita that has Lilamrita. Srila Prabhupada had some issues in US immigrations, and during that time, some of the disciples had actually tried to prevent Srila Prabhupada from attending the controversial Cosmic Loving at the Age Village Theatre. But not because of his health, they had wanted to protect his US residency case. Srila Prabhupada had been invited to attend the Love in a fundraising show, and according to the lawyer, Srila Prabhupada's suggesting, he was also asking not to go for that event, and so and the disciples, they agreed, and disciple mentioned to the Srila Prabhupada, this may jeopardize the situations, and he said that, and the Prabhupada agreed that it may be the best he didn't go. But on the day of the cosmic loving, he changed his mind and decided to go anyway. Quote, I came to this country to preach Krishna consciousness, he declared. Now, it was a time to speak against these LSD leaders who claimed to be spiritualist. He had been saying that although he wanted to go, he wouldn't go if his disciple forbid him. But in the end, he simply said he was going, and that was that. In many such incidents, or the Srila Prabhupada's pastime, we can see how Prabhupada was very bold in his preaching attempt, and all that he was doing is to for eternal welfare of all other people. On this auspicious day, I humbly pray to get the firm faith in dedicating myself to ISKCON, your disciple Srila Prabhupada, and serve all the Vaishnavas. Your servant Haldar Padas.
Jai Haladara Rupa Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Amazing. Thank you so much. Bal Mukunda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the opportunity. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Thank you for appearing in our lives and transforming our lives by your books, lectures, and the society you have created for us. I realize it's important more during this time when we are under house arrest for last 6 months because of pandemic. The only hope is your ISKCON society, which is helping us and nourishing us. The message you gave us is a timeless wisdom and real truth. This year is a very challenging year and very unique because of coronavirus pandemic. World's richest and powerful governments with best healthcare facilities are struggling to handle the current pandemic and are helpless. Everyone is trying to understand how come the world's most powerful and richest governments became helpless. Why is this happening? How can this happen despite so much scientific and economic advancement? But you just summarized the fact in one purport of Bhagavad Gita. In the purport of chapter 2, verse 8, you have written, economic development or supremacy over the world can be finished at any moment by the cataclysm of material nature. Cataclysm means a large-scale event in the natural world. This has become true this year, and no amount of economic development is able to prevent the pandemic. You have written this commentary of Bhagavad Gita more than 50 years ago. The world have changed drastically in 5 decades. So many ways, but still your message is as fresh and as relevant that was 50 years ago. You called the printing press as Brihat Madanga, although it was just a technological innovation, but you understood how powerful is the tool to distribute the message of Lord Chaitanya. It came true, and we could see because of book printing, the movement spread across the world. Today, the technology have advanced way more. Smartphones and internet revolution is changing lives of people in every town and village across the world. I have been thinking, if you are present today, what you have been instructed us about using these new technologies to widely distribute the message of Lord Chaitanya. I came across your quote, which gave me solace. Go on with your organization and distribution of my books through press and other modern media, and Krishna will certainly be pleased upon you. We can use everything, television, radio, movies, or whatever there may be, to tell about Krishna. This year, under the guidance of Srila Prabhu, for the first time in the BBT's history, we are running a pilot to distribute ebooks. There is a huge potential to distribute ebooks and audiobooks. Currently, there are 3 million devices sitting there to receive your message and your books. Please empower us to distribute your books in this new medium of audio and ebooks in millions, and make this new medium as a Bharat Mridanga of Sankirtan. I'm very insignificant and always disturbed by 3 modes of material nature, and with endless material desires and countless faults. I pray at your lotus feet, please engage me in your service. You are an expert in engaging everyone in Krishna's service despite their faults and weakness. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. I wish you a happy appearance day.
Jai, Paul Mukund Prabhu, Hare Krishna. That was really powerful. Thank you so much. Hari Hari Bo. Now we have the Chant and Be Happy Kids group with Premalata and Pranagopika.
That's the same as what Sandrine Leela did. It's one of another parent from that group.
Now we have Avantika.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine. Compassion is the first quality of yours that comes to my mind when I think about you, Srila Prabhupada. Your loving nature is what sold us all into this Krishna-conscious lifestyle. These last few months, due to this notorious pandemic everyone's been talking about, I've really been able to dive a lot farther into Krishna-conscious literature and your books. My favorite books, however, are the ones written by your loving disciples about you, such as Ocean of Mercy, 5 years, 11 months, Watering the Seed, and my personal favorite, What is the Difficulty? Through your disciples' eyes and experience, I'm able to witness your compassion for them when you gently stroked His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami's head and comforted him while he was sobbing at the mere thought of your departure. And when you gently put the back of your delicate hand on Jadurani Mataji's forehead when she was coming down with a fever, you took care of them the same way as a father looks out for his children. When you first met Giriraj Maharaj's parents, they were concerned whether he was eating well after taking up the art of Krishna consciousness. You laughed and promised them you would personally see to it that he would eat a minimum of 3 rasagullas a day. Out of your kindness, you also asked his parents about their jobs and their lives, although you held no attraction for such topics. From this, I can see that not only were you an exemplary devotee, but a gentleman as well. You've won over all of our hearts. Krishna is always with you, and you are always with him. For a person like me, who struggles to see Krishna's presence in her life at all, I marvel at you, who finds Krishna in everything. You even consider an orange a perfectly wrapped gift Krishna gave you. Your compassion for all the living entities is the reason we are here today. Only a heart like yours can hold enough love to feel pity for all the souls who lost their only eternal lover, Krishna. To save us all, you overlooked and dodged all the tremendous difficulties hurled at you. Old age, fragile health, a mere $7 to sustain you, no shelter, no food, and no one to support you. The list goes on and on. But none of this affected you. By strictly following the order of your spiritual master, you fully surrendered yourself to Krishna. Armed with your unwavering faith, you were unstoppable and successfully smashed and surpassed your goal of executing your dear Guru Maharaj's order. As more and more of your disciples are leaving this planet to engage in your eternal service, I'm scared. Not just scared, I'm terrified. I pray that I'm able to take full advantage of the facilities Krishna, you and your disciples have given me so I can be an instrument in spreading your mission for future generations. I also pray that after this lifetime, I can finally meet you for the first time. Thank you for everything. Love, your insignificant servant, Avantika.
Well done, Avantika. Really well done. Beautifully written. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Ananda Vrindavan.
Balaram can confirm if his mom is around.
He's there on the Zoom, but yeah, muted.
Shraddha Devi Dasi.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. I take it as an instruction from you, and I'll make an attempt to show my torch to the sun called Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you, to your disciples, and to your grand disciples. Recently, I was giving a class on Bhagavad Gita and came across this verse in chapter 2, verse number 29, which said, Ascharyavat paschati kaschitenam, Ascharyavat vadati tatheva chanyaha, Ascharyavat chenam anya shrinoti, Shutvapi enam vedana cheva kaschit. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Krishna was explaining about the soul to Arjuna, but it struck me that these words fit you so perfectly, Prabhupada. Let's hear them again. Some look on Srila Prabhupada as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. I belong to the last category of fools. You are the treasure chest of amazing gems, and I will attempt to pick just a few today that my puny brain can understand. What Charles Dickens said in his famous novel, A Tale of Two Cities, about 50 years prior to your appearance, is so true today. He said, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, it was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope, it was the winter of despair. What a wonderful way in which Dickens emphasized the dualities of material life. It was as if he was laying the ground for you to come 100 years later and preach Krishna conscious philosophy in Europe. From this seemingly indefinite pandemic situation, indeed makes it the worst of times. Because for some, they don't like that we have to wear masks and maintain social distance. Restaurants and pubs have closed down. Barber shops are no longer open. There is no way to get the nails done. Shelves in the shops are barely stocked. And the nugatory toilet paper has become a prized possession. And to add insult to injury, some now have to face their spouses 24/7. But we, your followers, taking inspiration from you, find this to be the best of times. In the 1960s, when Americans were looking for everlasting happiness, you came from across the ocean at a ripe age of 69 with failing health and successfully converted hippies into saints, even as you used a worldly object like a dictaphone to translate your books. Inspired by you, thousands of your followers have started to use the systems which were typically meant for mundane work to broadcast the message of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Many have seized of this opportunity and enrolled in spiritual courses, while others made a resolve to wipe off the dust from the books lying on the shelves and decided to read them scrutinizingly. You have given us spiritual wisdom and the 4 regulative principles to follow, which really save us. Who cares if the pubs are closed? We did not drink alcohol in any case. What if there is no nail polish? You taught us that we are not this body anyways. A pandemic can scare the heck out of anybody, but you taught us to see reversals in life as Krishna's special mercy and an opportunity to learn and improve and maintain faith in Krishna. After all, you say, Rakhe Krishna Mareke, Mare Krishna Rakeke. It is this faith that is carrying us through. Yes, dear Prabhupada, like the sweet you introduced, you too are simply wonderful. How will I ever pay back this debt, I wonder? Never. In the mood of Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:32-22, I submit like Krishna to gopis. Dear Srila Prabhupada, your service to us fallen souls was spotless, and your connection with us is beyond reproach. You severed domestic ties to serve us all in your sweet and humble way. Your service to humanity is incomparable, since you taught us how to be practical and free ourselves from the shackles of Maya. This pandemic reminds us, just as you did, of the urgency to take to Krishna consciousness. And on this most auspicious day of your holy appearance, I pray for your mercy, dear Prabhupada, that you, as a representative of Lord Sri Balrama, give me the strength and intelligence to be able to serve you and everyone else by taking Krishna consciousness more seriously and helping to spread it around the globe through your transcendental teachings in a humble and cooperative way, and thus please you and your dear disciple and my dear spiritual master, Vaisheshika Prabhu. Thank you for considering my request. Simply fortunate to be a tiny part of your wonderful movement. Your servant, Shraddha Devi Dasi.
Really beautiful, Shraddha. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Lord.
Very deep and powerful. Hare Krishna. It looks like we get to hear from Aprame Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Uh, I don't really have too much to say, basically because I've only just started. Um, I don't have exactly too much to say because I've only been alive in this life for so long. But what I can say is that Srila Prabhupada has been really fortunate, uh, especially to my family, because my family's journey into Krishna consciousness led me to be in the place that I am to have this opportunity. Around 25 years ago, my grandfather, he got a Bhagavad Gita in Delhi and became a life member. And at this time, he was a policeman and he was going under difficult economic or financial, he was going under a financial crisis and having difficulties with his work and all. And so at that time, he was becoming morose and all. And he had this book, but he never looked at it, just kept it in his glass case. My mom, she saw this book one day after coming from her school and or college, and she read a little bit about it and said some words from it that helped rein helped give my grandfather some enthusiasm to continue doing his duty. And this is karma yoga part, doing your duty and taking care of what you should be doing. She introduced my mom introduced my grandfather and everybody else in her family to the concept of vegetarianism, and that led to her spiritual advancement to the time of my parents' marriage. Um, After my parents' marriage, my dad was actually a non-vegetarian before my parents' marriage, and so right after he started to change his bad habits and left eating meat and started to look into different books, different Puranas about what should I really do with all this Vedic knowledge. And so somehow or the other, we came in contact with my parents came in contact with the Bascom Temple around 2002, 2003, and although they showed up once every 2-3 months per year, um, they still kept some contact with it. We went to different paths inside Vedic knowledge. Some places that were more focused on yoga and meditation, other places more in the art of service and giving. But we still used to go to this ISKCON temple occasionally. Around 2013, uh, my parents started going to the ISKCON temple regularly, and that is where I first came in contact with Srila Prabhupada's books. Uh, this happened because SKP Prabhu and some other devotees happened to load my mom with a Bhagavatam, and my dad never knew about this. And so he comes home and he's like, "Hey, why do you get this $250 big bag of books? What are we gonna do with this?" And so he never read it, and it was just kept lying there for a while. Few years later, 2 3 years later, I had started reading on Wikipedia about Mahabharata and Ramayana because I was recommended this and these stories by my parents. And so I used to read a lot about on Mahabharata and Ramayana on Wikipedia, the different astras. Me and my brother used to have mock battles with it, and it was really nice actually. And then I started reading Bhagavatam because it was there and it was open. There was only one book open. It was just kept on top of the box, and I jumped. I remember the first canto I ever read was 10th canto, and I think it was around the stories of Krishna killing the demons, the Dhenukasura stories, the Aghasura stories, and so I really liked it. And because of that, and my parents also started reading, and me and my brother used to have who can flip through the books as quick as possible competitions. At that time, I was 11. I didn't really read. I just tried to keep a tally of who can flip through the end of Bhagavatam. And eventually, our family's collective faith in ISKCON grew to the point that we were really interested in this. And so we started keeping ourselves aloof from the other paths that we were already in. And somehow or the other, my mom got in contact with Akrura Prabhu, who was a senior disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And she immediately decided, I'm going to take shelter. And sporadic, like spontaneously. And I remember my parents having an insane discussion about how can you decide this so like just on the fly. And my parents actually were chanting 16 rounds before this, but still to jump to that level on the first time you meet an ISKCON devotee and he's giving a lecture, it's mind-boggling. And so after 6 months, my dad came to the decision to also take shelter from His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and they enlisted me inside Vedic Academy, and I was put under shelter of all you devotees. And that's when basically I was starting to feel like, hey, there's some real different power out there. Like, I was reading all these books, I was just devouring the knowledge. Of course, it would just flow from one ear and go out the other, but it was still like a mind-boggling experience to switch our positions and paths in Vedic society or Sanatan Dharma to this esoteric branch of knowledge about how Krishna is the source of Vishnu. For many years, Vishnu used to be the source of Krishna, and that was what we read on Wikipedia. What I read on Wikipedia, I was written all the different Puranas from different Gita press and all that, all the different printing presses. But coming here to ISKCON and it just really changed the way I thought about spirituality, and completely just put my family in a completely different situation. We're so focused on this, we don't even know how we got here at this point. It takes a lot of digging through to find out how Srila Prabhupada spread his mercy through one Bhagavad Gita that was given 25 years ago. And I still have it. Like, my mom still reads from it. I can't read from it, it's Hindi. But it's just really insane how Srila Prabhupada gives mercy like this. It's I have nothing to say. Srila Prabhupada, please continue to string us along in this path. It's always a thrilling ride, especially during summer, the festival season, where we have festivals after festivals. Fasting is also there, but we have amazing prasadam after that, and it just reminds us of something that should have been, that's locked away in our memories, maybe from a long time ago. And hopefully, Srila Prabhupada, that we can continue to stay in your service. Your insignificant servant, Upper May, and also I'm speaking this on behalf of my parents and my brother. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Aprame. You led us to believe you didn't have much to say, and then you Took it to the moon. I mean, that was brilliant. And you're getting accolades. They're pouring in here on the chat box. It was very, very interesting and very raw view of Krishna's mercy. Spontaneous, better word. Fantastic. Thank you very much. And I just kept feeling during that offering that I'm glad Krishna brought you and your family to us, because it's made all the difference. Hare Krishna.
Anand Vrindavan Mataji said.
Ananda Vrindavan Mataji is here. Well, that's good news for the
Hare
world.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances.
Jai.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I was just out for a second. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the opportunity. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirbishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances at your divine lotus feet on this auspicious day of your divine appearance. All glories to your divine grace. Srila Prabhupada, you are the Jagat Guru by giving Krishna to the whole world. You brought Srimad Bhagavatam to the hustle bustle America, living the peaceful life in Sri Vrindavan Dham by following your spiritual master's instructions. You have taken Krishna out of Vrindavan and given to the whole world, so much so that every corner of the world there is an ISKCON temple now. You have taken Lord Jagannath out of Jagannath Puri and given to the whole world in such a way that there is Rath Yatra happening every year in every major city and every continent of the world. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened the storehouse of Krishna Prema starting in Navadvip and then overflowing it all over India. But your divine grace took the holy name of Krishna to all over the world, fulfilling the prediction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu of Prithivite Ache Jata Nagaradi Grama Sarvatra Prachara Hoibe Mornam. You are the Senapati Bhakta of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as predicted by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who even now is continuing the preaching of Krishna consciousness for next 10,000 years to come through your books and Bhaktivedanta purports, which are translated into almost all the languages of the world. You have fulfilled the meaning of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means the whole world is a family, by keeping people of all continents, religions, race, and color under one umbrella of ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada, you are the most merciful spiritual master who has taught everything to his disciples by his own examples as a father and a mother in the same, how parents teach everything to their children with unlimited love from the very beginning of life. You taught them how to and what to eat, how and what to wear, how to read and write, how to cook, how to do deity worship, how to treat guests, how to build temples, how to raise children, and above all, how to give Krishna consciousness to others. Parents teach ABC to a child, but you taught ABCs of Krishna consciousness and gave the real way of living life by giving the real knowledge to millions of fallen souls like me. You are the Patita Pavan, the deliverer of all fallen souls. Each purport of yours in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam relays the importance of hearing, chanting, worshipping, and devotee association, which are the key factors of self-realization. Srila Prabhupada, I'm so much indebted to you that cannot be repaid by any means. On this auspicious Vyasa Puja day, I pray to you intensely for your blessings, to continue my chanting, hearing, and reading your books with rapt attention so that at least I get a taste of following your instructions effectively. Thank you so much for each and everything that I have received as a grand disciple of yours through your books, your lectures, your conversations, interviews, and above all, from your many, many stalwart disciples by their own examples. Thank you so much, Srila Prabhupada, your insignificant servant, Ananda Vrindavan Devidasi.
Jai Ananda Vrindavan Devi Dasi. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Amazing. Amazing grand disciple that you are too. Okay, let's see. Kumari Leela.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for this opportunity. Uh, Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to your divine grace. It is my unimaginable fortune to wish you a very happy appearance day. Though I am a tiny insignificant soul trying to serve you and the Vaishnavas who has dedicated their lives under your expert guidance for the pleasure of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I often find myself wondering, confused, and sometimes lost, thinking, am I really serving you anyway? In search, I found the lecture given by your divine grace dated December 9, 1968 at Los Angeles on occasion of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance day. In a letter to your Guru Maharaj, you mentioned, being a householder, I cannot live with you like your other disciples, brahmacharis and sannyasis. So I cannot serve you. Hence, so I don't know how can I serve you. In a reply, His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentioned, my dear, I am very glad to receive your letter. I think you should try to push our movement in English and it will do good to you and to the people who will help you. That really struck me. This, hap- this happened to be last instructive letter to your divine grace. You literally took those words to heart and soul. Despite of having hard time executing these instructions, you never deviate for a moment, even though that was to lose the first ever Bhagavad Gita as it is transcript or hearing repetitive no's from all directions. In all these times, your determination and dedication shine when you got the ticket to Jaladuta. And this was just a beginning. Fast forward, after almost a year, struggling with many challenges on a wonderland, you finally found the place to share matchless gift of Krishna consciousness to one and all. Actually, reading your autobiography, helping me to understand the sweetness of the moment that you have showered on us without any expectation, just to serve and live to share Krishna consciousness. You have literally acted as a spiritual teacher, guardian, manager, and above all, a genuine caretaker. You tolerated the crazy drug addicts to sophisticated businessmen. You taught, you cooked, you mentored, you managed, and you saved the sincere souls by extending your shelter to them. In all circumstances, you remain focused to the service to Krishna and your beloved Guru Maharaj. We have been experiencing pandemic effects since few months, but seems like you came to rescue us from the pandemic, which was running through the ages. You literally took the role of protective shield, where we hit by Maya, we experienced it, but didn't impact, as you saved us by your mercy and instructions flow through your books decade after decades, where you again and again remind us the boundary of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Whatever I say is not enough to glorify your divine grace, since your grace's compassion is inconceivable for me. All I know is by your causeless mercy, I have the opportunity to serve your divine grace and being the servant of the servants of your loving and dedicated disciples. On this day, from the core of my heart, I would like to dedicate myself at your lotus feet and praying to be used in a way you like. My deep gratitude at the dust of your lotus feet for extending the vast ISKCON umbrella on the fallen soul like me. Also, I would like to thank to His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj and His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu. If they would not encourage me, I would have never even tried to experience the greatness of your divine grace. Thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Hare Krishna.
Haribo,
Providing
Hare
servant of
Krishna. Thank you so much. Let's see Kunji.
Kunji, come.
Come on, Kunji. You're a big star on this team here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Good work, Kunji. Beautiful, beautiful offering. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. They just, every one of them is extraordinary, amazing. We have Dira Prashanta, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Prabhupada.
Sorry, I've been assigned the duty of distributing prasadam, so I've been on the phone, so I apologize for that.
That's,
all right.
That's always an excusable excuse.
Thank you, Maharaj. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Punyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you. 124 years ago, you came into this material world. Thank you for coming to this world and showing us the path of bhakti. You went through many difficulties and challenges. You have bestowed your causeless mercy on generations and generations to come. I consider myself very fortunate to hear your pastimes from my Guru Maharaja and your disciples. It's a serious responsibility on our generation to keep up the standards, the ethics you have set. I beg and pray to get all the mercy and blessings from my Guru Maharaja, all your disciples, my God siblings, and all Vaishnavas to continue to spread the Krishna conscious movement. Pandemics are hardly new to us. We have seen this over the course of history. And I'd like to quote these words from Bhagavatam, 1.14.10. Pasyot patan naravyagraha divyan bauman sadhaikan darunan samsato durat bhayam no buddhi mohanam. Translation: just see, O man, with a tiger's strength, how many miseries due to celestial influences, earthly reactions, and bodily pains, all very dangerous in themselves, are foreboding danger in the near future by deluding your intelligence. And this is where the beauty of Srila Prabhupada's purport comes, and it had a huge influence on me and I hope many others. The purport not only talks about how you should handle yourself during the pandemic, it also talks about how do you do your regular duties. So the purport goes like this: material advancement of civilization means advancement of the reactions of the threefold miseries due to celestial influence, earthly reactions, and bodily or mental pains. But the celestial influence of the stars, there are many calamities like excessive heat, cold, rains or no rains, and the after effects are famine, disease, and epidemic. The aggregate results is agony of the body and the mind. So basically, the man-made material science cannot do anything to counteract these four miseries. They're all punishments from the superior energy of Maya under the direction of the Supreme Lord. So how do we handle these pandemics? Prabhupada tells us in the purport, our constant touch with the Lord by devotional service can give us relief without our being disturbed in the discharge of our human duties. So thank you, Prabhupada, for giving these wonderful purports and books. Another words from Bhagavad Gita that I would like to quote was 7.14, where it says, Daivi he sagunamai mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. This clearly states that the reaction of the material energy is never to be conquered because of the binding effects of the three modes. They can, however, be simply overcome by one who surrenders fully in the devotion under the Lord, under the lotus feet of the Lord. So it doesn't matter if you are, unlocked or locked up or locked down. There is no excuse. The beauty of Srila Prabhupada's books, we are still able to distribute and do lockdown Sankirtan. So thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for giving us Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and writing so many books in spite of all the hardships you have to undergo. One particular story I'd like to tell before I close out is a story of my aunt. So I came to this country many moons ago, and I landed in my aunt's house. I didn't do a huge favor to them because they had a second baby, who was 3 or 4 years. 15 years ago, they moved out of California to North Carolina. For some reason, she was never a big fan of ISKCON. And I still remember the instructions of you, Guru Maharaj, and many other people to create a good impression. So she had a lot of not good things to talk about ISKCON, but I just soaked it in. And then as time passed by, 4 years ago, she came to visit us for a marriage, for a wedding in California. And she saw my bookshelf, and she got interested, and she talked about it. And I gave her a cookbook, vegetarian dishes, and she loved that. And she started cooking it. She's basically a non-vegetarian, but she started turning into vegetarian. Not due to that book, but over a period of time. And this book had more influence on her. And then a few years ago, when she visited us again, I gave her a book by Journey Home by Radhanath Swami. And then during the pandemic, I was talking to her, and I told her about our interest in distributing books, and she took Bhagavatam set, and she's really seriously reading it. She started reading Canto 7. So I have no doubt in my mind that if it was not for these books, right, people wouldn't have turned around. They are turning around a big time during this pandemic. So I'm really, really grateful to Srila Prabhupada for giving us these books, and thank you for your instructions. So I would like to conclude by saying that I have been able to read the books and visit the temples regularly, and Srila Prabhupada had a great influence on me. So I'm begging for the blessings from all the Vaishnavas and yourself to make me progress on the path of bhakti and be successful and going back to Godhead, your insignificant servant, Dear Prashant Das.
Haribo, nicely done, dear Prashant. Very nice. Hare Krishna. Bravo. Now we get to hear from Bharat.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyapadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. I am grateful for this opportunity to read my offering. I cannot put into words how thankful I am that you brought Krishna consciousness into my life, especially due to the current pandemic that is around the world. I feel like Krishna consciousness has given me something to focus on during this pandemic, as well as, through your teachings, given me a better understanding of the current situation around us. During this pandemic, I've had the opportunity to go deeper into your books. While doing this, I've started to appreciate your purports more and more. I'm unable to understand many of the verses' true meanings by just the translation, and your beautifully written purports bring many of those meanings to light. Also, you have trained your many exceptional disciples to become outstanding leaders and role models for the younger generations like myself. I also admire your determination and faith while spreading the Sankirtan movement to the West. I think one of your qualities that I respect the most is your practicality. Because you understand you were preaching in the West, you took a very practical approach to it. You did this by introducing the Western world to something they understood, music and food, in the form of kirtan and prasadam, and it worked wonders. As time went on, you introduced them to more and more of the fundamentals of devotional service. We can see the success of this approach with the millions of people who have joined the movement. Additionally, reading many stories and letters of your disciples made me understand just how understanding you were. I have read countless stories of how you have helped your disciples through tough times in their lives, and I've noticed that you are our spiritual grandfather, taking care of us at every step, as if we were your grandchildren. These were just a few of your infinitely many qualities that came to my mind. I pray to Shri Radha Madan Mohan that I may be of some service towards this magnificent movement you started. Your servant, Bharat Sharma.
Hare Krishna, Bharat. That was insightful and well written. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Really nice. Priyanka. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. Happy Vyasa Puja. I always feel thankful to you in my heart, but today, after getting inspiration from your disciples and other devotees, I pulled all my courage together to say it out loud that how thankful I am to you and to all the devotees. I grew up in the holy city of Kurukshetra, where Gita Jayanti was a month-long festival. I still remember those banners, the loudspeakers, and the loud recitations of shlokas and bhajans. All the students of local schools participated in different programs. The celebrations and festivities were fun, but I did not know the meaning of any of that. Krishna was so close to me, but I had never met him until I came to ISV and met devotees. It's you, your books, your disciples, and grand disciples who introduced me to Krishna. If it wasn't for you, I probably would have never met Krishna, and more importantly, never understood my relationship with him. I'm very grateful to you for giving us the International Society of Krishna Consciousness with very well-trained teachers who are selflessly and tirelessly imparting this timeless knowledge with love and affection. Every day I'm learning new ways to see Krishna and his forms around me. I'm so happy that willingly or unwillingly, I'm put in the midst of these exalted devotees. I feel tiny, but secure. Thank you, Prabhupada. I seek your blessings so that with my insignificant capabilities, I can sincerely do little service to you and Krishna. Your servant, Priyanka. Thank you.
Jai Priyank Mataji, thank you very much. Amazing. The imagery of that month-long Gita Jayanti festival. Krishna was getting you ready for something. Fantastic. Shamalangi.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you. I wish you a very happy appearance day. Srila Prabhupada, as you know and have been hearing in all these other offerings, times are not being very good during these days due to the pandemic. Recently at work, we had a call where our team members were asked to share their experiences and realizations during these hard times. It was a team of 20 people, and almost all of them were morose and so fearful of the future. They said what they would hear in the news. They were sad that the kids were being trapped indoors. Some said they were getting bored. Some said they are missing all the fun. And at least 15 of them said they are losing their sleep at night. When my turn came, I had a different perspective. Even though I'm not liking the pandemic, I had very different things to tell them. I said, I'm waking up earlier, taking morning walks, seeing the majestic sunrise, doing some meditation, reading ancient Sanskrit scriptures daily with my like-minded friends, and then doing my office work and regular household chores. And so I get finally exhausted by night, and I sleep early and have a very deep and restful sleep. All this is true. I do have a busy schedule and don't have the time to get bored. My team members were appreciative of my daily routine and had a lot of follow-up questions for me. This is because of you, Srila Prabhupada. You gave us the daily routine, which not only keeps us busy, but is also protecting us in such hard times. I am eternally grateful to you. Srila Prabhupada, it is hard to comprehend what you have done and achieved during the later part of your life in this world. At an age when people tend to retire, you circled the globes 14 times and established the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. You initiated thousands of disciples and made unlimited other followers. I recently read that you were called the Jet Age Prabhupada. You were the Jet Age Prabhupada, but you never experienced jet lag. Or perhaps you tolerated and ignored it. I've seen in the videos that your young followers could not maintain with your pace. You achieved so much, and yet you always passed on the credit to others, to your followers, to your spiritual master, and finally to Krishna. You achieved so much, you didn't sleep and used all your time in Krishna's service to uplift the fallen. You would wake up at midnight and ride through the wee hours. I recently read in one of your CC purports where you wrote, unless one is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, One cannot spread the holy names of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra throughout the world. Persons who do so are empowered. Therefore, they are sometimes called Avesha Avataras or empowered incarnations, for they are endowed with the power of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Your very statement proves that you yourself are an empowered incarnation. Another thing I recently read in Back to Godhead is that once an Indian Swami criticized you by saying that if Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had wanted Krishna consciousness in the Western countries, why didn't he go there himself? And you replied, he left the credit for me. He loves his devotee more than himself. So Srila Prabhupada, you're a true servant of Lord Krishna, and I consider your life a success. Once again, I wish you a very happy Appearance Day. I beg you to keep me in your shelter and use me in your service. Your servant and granddaughter, Shamalangi Devidasi. Thank you.
Jai Shamalangi Devidasi, well done. I really love the imagery of you with all your business associates talking about how you're doing meditation and how they asked you all kinds of questions. Really brilliant. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. It looks like we come to the end of the list, if I'm not mistaken. Unless there's somebody wants to...
We have only two more. It's a Manjari Gopika and Bhakti Nitisha.
Oh, okay. Hare Krishna. Jai Manjari Gopika.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you for this opportunity. Dearest Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most respectful obeisances at the dust of your divine lotus feet. All glories to you. All glories to your disciples. Wishing you a very happy Vyasa Puja day. Thinking where we would have been in this current pandemic situation, I'm realizing how grateful we are to receive this rare Krishna consciousness. There is so much uncertainty, distress, depression, and anxiety all around. But we have this Krishna consciousness which is possible despite any circumstance. Recently, I was hearing in a lecture that Dhruv Maharaj, when he met Lord Vishnu, the only benediction he asked was for association of devotees who have taste in Krishna Katha, even while in association of Krishna. But here in ISKCON, we have this readily available. Despite the current circumstances, there are so many reading groups, Srimad Bhagavatam classes, Bhagavad Gita classes, which we can tune in easily. But Srila Prabhupada, this was not possible without you. यदि प्रभुपाद न होइतो ताबे की होइतो ए जीवन बहित कीशे निताई गौरे रहा पर करुणा के दीता सकल देशे. If Prabhupada had not come, what would have happened? How could we have passed our lives? Who else would have distributed the unlimited mercy of Lord Nityananda and Lord Gauranga all over the world? This is from a poem by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Last year in November, in the Vrindavan Yatra, the last day at Dham, I felt so much separation thinking of going back to the regular life. Being at Dham in presence of sadhus and hearing and chanting all day, associating with Vaishnavas, but suddenly realizing separation was so difficult. But I was thinking, Srila Prabhupada, you traveled across from Vrindavan, taking up so many inconveniences just to serve your spiritual master, to give Vrindavan to everyone. On this auspicious day, praying at your lotus feet, that we can also, to our best capacity, be able to help in this mission with a humble and grateful heart. Praying at your lotus feet, Srila Prabhupada, help me be a good disciple to my spiritual masters. Thank you very much. Your grateful granddaughter, Manjari Gopika Devidasi.
Jai. Thank you very, very much, Manjari Gopika. What a beautiful offering. Thank you.
Bhakti Nitisha. Bhakti Nitisha.
Oh, very good. Excellent.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Kanad Pranam Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namini. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. First of all, I wanted to thank you for convincing Mrs. Sumiti Morarshi to send you on Jaladuta. I can't help myself but think that that event had led in turning around my life so that I can have association of my Guru Maharaj, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, and the wonderful association of ISKCON community. You sat on the steps of her office all day long and convinced her to send you to America. You are determined to come here not for fame, riches, or any other worldly gains, but to save everyone who are suffering from time immemorial and turn them towards the path back to Godhead, Sri Krishna. After reading Lilamrita, I have realized your causeless mercy and determination to teach Krishna consciousness to everyone without discrimination. You boarded the Jaladuta and stepped into USA, where people were mostly ignorant of the path of Bhakti Yoga. You have went through so many hurdles, physically and emotionally challenging situations. But in each of these situations, your actions and thoughts are completely selfless, always absorbed in serving Krishna, not yourself. Each moment in your life shows how to choose the path of Krishna and serve him, not the path of Maya. Like in your childhood days when you go to visit Radha Govinda deities and stand there hours looking at the lordships. Also, like living an ideal Grihastha life, serving your Guru Maharaj's mission, no matter how hectic your family and business responsibilities are. And also like choosing to walk down the roads of Delhi on hot summer days to distribute the Back to Godhead magazine. And at an elderly age, leaving all the comforts aside and suffering 2 heart attacks and without any human support, you left the holy place of Vrindavan and stepped into the completely new culture where material happiness is more prominent and spiritual life is almost absent. You have done humanly impossible acts and convinced the people who are into drugs, impersonalism, and all other isms to listen to your message, made them into devotees, and finally established International Society of Krishna Consciousness. And yet you remain so humble, always glorifying your Guru Maharaj and your disciples and giving them all the credit. Today, on the auspicious day of Vyasa Puja, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu has glorified you, saying that your speciality, Srila Prabhupada, is elevating the fallible to the category of the infallible. I myself am in that fallen category, lacking in every aspect. I pray to you, always keep your mercy glance upon me. Help me overcome the temptations of Maya and choose the path of serving my Guru and Krishna in every possible way. Thank you, your most undeserving servant, Bhakti Nitisha.
Very nice. I love that. I love the beginning of how you were saying how eventful it was that Prabhupada convinced Sumati Morarji to let him take the boat. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. It's amazing how so many things hang in the balance from one person's determination. Very nicely done. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hansapriya? Anyone
Yes,
else?
Prabhu, maybe we can just get a closing note from you. That would be
Yeah,
great.
I'd love to give a closing note because I'm so inspired, really, by, I don't know why I always feel like this, but I mean, I kind of do, actually. It's what I'm thinking of. But the fact is that I find this to be the most, not just interesting, but also nourishing of all the kathas that we have. First of all, I feel it brings us together closer. Because just knowing, like when we heard Aprame's talk, you know, it was to hear all the details of the family and everyone coming through. Come on, Aprame, put your camera on. And everyone had some details that are unique to them, and they're genuine. And when we hear about that, it's what solidifies our relationships as a family, a spiritual family. And I always feel too, when I hear this, that although everyone's experience is slightly unique, there's a common thread that runs through it that confirms for us that it's Krishna who's put us together here. And he has a master plan. Otherwise, we wouldn't be together like this. How could we be from our own arrangement? We just desired in a certain way, even if we had a feeble desire. Still, Krishna put us. Okay, you're in this group, and it moves forward from them. So, what I was thinking of, just as we're looking at these squares on the screen of the Zoom. It's a kind of a mosaic of devotees' lives. And I was considering how much we heard tonight about the pandemic and how meaningful it's been to us and how the devotees are dealing with it in amazing ways. And then I thought about how our life is a portrait. And it's a mosaic portrait. And that each one of the experiences we have in our life, like here's a pandemic experience, we have other kinds of experiences that we go through, these are one little square in the overall portrait of our life. And really the perfection of life is making a portrait that's clear enough, that's actually beautiful, that when we are leaving this world, we look at that portrait, Krishna looks at it with us, and everything's determined from that, what's going to happen. And the way that we are all equally, or I should say similarly, inspired by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, that he's obviously the empowered Acharya who is able to bring those who have even an inkling of desire for spiritual life, some a lot more, together. All of you have a lot more, that's for sure. And, put them in a group and arrange for them to be taken care of even after he moves on to the next planet or wherever he's gone to, the universe, to do Krishna's work or into Lila. And we are still there, benefiting from every word he said, and very profoundly so much so that it is clearly exemplified by the verse Mahat Kritena in the Bhagavatam, in which the demigods say that those great souls who are empowered are able to leave a path behind so that everybody else can follow. So thank you very much for participating in this. It was edifying, and it was something that can be overlooked. You just think, oh, let a few disciples say a few things. But when we see the full picture of everyone and how we're all in this together, affected by the same energy coming down, then it becomes more clear about Krishna's master plan and how we're all together in it. So what an amazing week. Amazing week. One of the mosaic tiles that is going to really shine forth in our lives, that during this pandemic, we had a Janmashtami celebration that was very special and heartfelt, and everyone got to participate. So thank you very much to all of you, and I pray to Srila Prabhupada that we may always be held together by his mercy, that we can always have the strength to hold on to the transcendental vibration that he's left behind for us, and let us all excel. You're all extraordinary souls, there's no doubt about it. And I pray that he may empower all of you more and more to take up his legacy and spread it all over the world for the glory of Srila Prabhupada and for the Gaudiya Sampradaya and for the service of Lord Chaitanya. Everyone who thinks this is not a bad idea, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, well,
Hare
if
Krishna.
it turns out there's more devotees who wanted to participate, then we will make more time next opportunity, like Saturday or whenever it may be. Okay. Thank you very much. Vancha Kalpatarishya, Kripa Sindhubhyo,
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Please try to get a little rest. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Thank you.